So today, this guy's going to teach us why prejudging people is a horrible idea, and then why the things we think we need to do. Let's go. Hey, what's going on? I'm Joe with True Warrior Ascension, and this man needs no introduction, but
Shane Greene.
Shane Greene, pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. I like this dude because he's just been that guy. He's been someone I think has been influential, and if you've watched his story, which you'll get to hear today for sure, I don't think you can disagree. But Shane, I mean, dang, this dude is great to see you. Give him just a little bit about, we're going to go in depth and be able to talk a lot today about you and like your journey, but give him just a little bit about you to kick it off.
A little bit about me. I'm from Florida, born and raised. Spent most of my life in Claremont, Florida. Got a small family, mom, dad, sister, aunt, uncle, a couple cousins.
Close with the family? Like really small?
Yeah,
you guys tight knit?
the small family that we have, we're really close. Our family functions are always never a dull moment.
Really? So you guys get rowdy?
Yeah.
I mean, driving through Claremont, I feel like Claremont can get a little rowdy.
Yeah.
It's one of those places not too much to do.
Oh yeah, there's nothing to do but get rowdy.
That's pretty dope.
But it's growing up fast. So, anyways, played college ball for a couple years, got drafted, grinding my way through, made it. Continuing to try to make a name for myself and establish myself.
And it seems like you're doing that in a big way. I mean,
trying to.
Yeah, for sure. So we're here. This is Bishop Memorial. Right, Bishop Memorial Field here in Claremont, where I mean, you said it kind of started for you.
Yeah, like I've been playing here since, I don't remember if I was playing here when I was 9 because we had to be on a smaller field back then.
Okay,
but
yeah.
I grew up on this field, like this field. This is where I came for. If I had pitching lessons, or at the time I played, third base or outfield, or I had to come run, like whatever I was doing, this is where it happened. These steps right here, I used to run up these steps. Holding weights, I used to do pitching drills off that mound right there. This is actually the field that the Yankee scout
got to see you play.
Got to see me. I wasn't even playing. I just threw a bullpen, and this is where it happened.
That's crazy how that happens.
Yeah, it's crazy that this is the field that started it, and this is the field that I got recognized for.
That's where you started to take off. That's really dope, man. So when did you know? I mean, obviously, like. You picked up a ball, sounds like even before 9.
Yeah.
Right? So when did you know that you were just a little different?
I don't think I knew I was a little different ever. In high school, I made varsity as a sophomore, but I never played.
Okay.
So like, was I different for being on varsity as a sophomore? Maybe. But
slightly,
then I literally never played.
It never felt like you were different.
I never played one inning. So, and then that year actually is when they told me like, hey, you're not good enough to play anything but pitch anymore. Like you're not an athlete, but you can throw it good, so we're gonna let you throw it.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I didn't pitch at all that year, and then I came back my junior year, and I pitched really, really well. And at that time in my life, it was like I was determined to prove myself because of my sophomore year, how it all happened.
So what? Let's go back to that sophomore year real quick. You're not playing. I mean, let's talk about like mid-season of that year. What's going through your mind, or like, I mean, do you even remember that? Is that one of those years that like really sticks out for you?
A little bit, but I knew I was the young guy.
Got you. Okay.
I was still the young guy.
So you kind of understood your role.
Yeah, and we had a couple of older players, pitchers in general that were really good. So I would basically just shadow them. Like one of the guys on our team, Steven Batman, he was like our stud, and I was like his shadow. Like the day after he pitched, when he had to go on his long distance run, I had to go with him.
I got you.
Like everything that he did for his routine, I just did it with him because that was my program, and then I just never pitched. And I would go to JV and I'd pitch every once in a while, like once a week, and then I'd go back to varsity practice the next day and I'd be there. And then going into my junior year, I had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, and I never really took that chip off, I guess. But I pitched really well my junior year, and then going into my senior year, I had expectations for the first time in my life. Before, I was always just, if I did well, great. But my senior year, because of my junior year, I had expectations and I didn't live up to them.
Really?
I mean, I pitched well, but I didn't pitch as well as I thought I was going to pitch.
In your senior year?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And so were those expectations brought upon by you? Was it family? Was it the meet? Like,
family, coaching staff, me. I mean, I have the highest expectations for myself than anybody will ever have.
I bet most pros are like that.
Yeah. And it was the same way back then as well, you know. But I mean, I pitched decent. I was still one of the guys. But I didn't pitch as well as I was planning on.
That you wanted to.
It wasn't necessarily a disappointment because I still got a college scholarship to go play baseball, which was the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
And so I was happy with it, you know.
Okay, so you first had that expectation in your senior year. Did you at that point, when you started getting notoriety and like coaches were like, hey, like this guy might be a good fit for us here and there, was the MLB even in the vision yet, or you're still like, yo, I'm just happy to get a scholarship?
Like when I was a senior in high school, I had 2 colleges that were interested in me.
Okay.
The University of West Florida and Florida Southern.
And you ended up going to West Florida.
I went on a visit to both schools.
Okay.
Florida Southern never actually gave me an offer, and the University of West Florida was the only school that actually gave me an offer. So obviously that's the school I went to.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So that freshman year, you arrive on campus. You know, maybe not the dude on the baseball team, but like, but you know, obviously to get a scholarship, you had to come with something. Yeah. How did it feel going into that freshman year? You know, just playing baseball and school. I mean, it's a whole new environment.
Yeah, for sure. Just like any kid, I feel like you go and you don't know what to expect, but you're excited. So I went there, no expectations really. Didn't know what to expect. Didn't know how college baseball was going to be. Went there. I didn't redshirt. I pitched like 20-something innings or something. I had some ups and downs, but I pitched pretty well. But I had elbow problems the whole year, so it didn't go exactly as planned. But it was kind of a blessing in disguise. It's funny because, like I said, it was the only college that offered me a scholarship.
That gave you looks.
Right. And then I had elbow problems. Well, now I reached a fork in the road where it's like, do I want to continue to play baseball? Is that really my passion? Or do I need to reevaluate my life and figure out how I'm going to make money?
Do something else.
And after talking to my parents and whatnot, my parents are like, listen, you're gonna get the surgery. We're gonna figure out the best doctor in the whole world that you can go to. So they started doing some research. Meanwhile, I'm talking to the team, the college and the team doctors or whatever.
Yeah.
And my mom calls me and she's like, hey, weird story. The best doctor in the country to do this surgery he's got a place in Pensacola, which is where I was.
Yeah, West Florida.
So, long story short, I had no idea, but our team physician was actually that doctor.
Yikes.
So, went there, saw the guy under him at his office, I forget his name, but did like the whole MRI deal. He looked at it, he said, we got to get Dr. Andrews to look at it. Andrews looked at it and said, okay, you need Tommy John. You don't need it immediately. Like if you want to finish the year playing, you can, but you definitely need it. And
what'd you go with?
I wanted to continue to pitch, but the team or the school didn't think it was a good idea, obviously.
Gotcha, so looking out for you.
Yeah, I didn't pitch for the rest of the year, and then I had surgery at the end of the season.
What was that recovery process like? Because I mean, you always hear about it. Almost you have the superhero or even the villain, but you have that comic book story where like you hit adversity. I mean, this is the first big, as far as baseball is concerned, this is the first big fork in the road. How was that recovery process for you?
For me, I didn't know what to expect. And actually my college roommate, Matt Collins, he ended up having surgery, same surgery a month after me. And we were pretty close, so it worked out well for us. We rehabbed together.
Okay.
So we could push each other every day. But at the end of the day, I think for both of us, it was kind of like this is our last chance. Not everybody comes back from this stronger.
Yeah.
So
this is it. Like we have to.
Yeah. If you're gonna come back stronger, you have to stay on this point.
Almost like that Adrian Peterson flow. Like I need to make this happen.
It was like a have to kind of thing.
So that was the driving force.
Yeah. It was almost like paranoia. Like if I don't do all this, am I going to look back and say, well, what if I did?
So avoiding regrets.
Yeah, so I had a year to make it happen, and we actually left UWF together.
Really?
We went to Daytona Beach Community College together.
Was that a tough decision for you, or did you think it was just the right one?
Well, this is part of the story that a lot of people have never heard before.
Okay. Getting exclusives.
Yes, so we'll share it with you. So, long story short, my freshman year in college, when I found out I was injured, we have what they're called exit meetings. So at the end of the season, the coach sits down with each player, tells them what he thought about the year, his expectations for next year.
Like a yearly review.
Yes. Okay. So it was about 10 days, maybe 2 weeks or a week before our exit meetings. The season's not quite over yet, but we're eliminated as a team. We're not going to go to any kind of playoffs or anything like that. So the pitching coach was the head coach as well.
Okay.
And so he sat down with all the pitchers and had like a pre-exit meeting, kind of.
Okay.
And during that exit meeting, he told me to my face that I'll never succeed in baseball because I'm not mentally tough enough.
100% right, guy. 100% right. You nailed it.
And he told me that because I had a $40,000 truck, and basically he told me that I was pampered and I never had to earn anything in my life.
Got
So,
it. But he didn't know you sat behind Steve Bateman.
Yeah. So me being me, I yes sir, no sir, all the way through it. Finished off with the meeting or whatever. Went home, continued the year, but throughout the rest of the year, I started talking to my roommate who wasn't happy there either. So we decided that we were going to leave, and during that, I decided that when I went into my exit meeting, I was going to have to grow up a little bit and talk to the head coach and tell him how I felt about what he told me before.
His viewpoint.
Yeah.
So his quick assumption for someone who didn't really even know for a full year.
Yeah. So now it's exit meeting day.
Yeah.
I walk into the office. It's just me and him. I sit down. He looks at me and he says, "You got bad news for me?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm not coming back." And he said, "You know, why, or do you have any reasons why?" He wasn't being mean or anything like that.
He was just curious at that point.
Yeah, at this point in time, it was like a man-to-man conversation. Like, you're not happy here. Tell me why not. So I opened up. I told him everything that I thought was wrong with the situation and the organization, because at the time it was very disorganized. And I also made sure that I told him that when I was 9 years old, my uncle, who's a huge role model in my life, told me that if I get a baseball scholarship, he'd buy me any car I wanted. So when I got that baseball scholarship, I called him up and I said, "Hey, I don't know if you remember this, but you once told me that if I get a baseball scholarship, you gotta buy me any car you want."
Without a doubt.
His response was, "Well, we better start shopping." So that was the truck that he bought me. So the coach couldn't have been more wrong when he said that I've never earned anything because I have a $40,000.
He literally earned the truck.
That was the first thing I ever earned in my whole life.
Besides the baseball scholarship that you, man.
So
that's wild. See what happens when we make assumptions here.
So it was,
judging early.
It was crazy, and that was, that was the first time that I kind of grew up a little bit.
And another chip on the shoulder, another chip on the shoulder.
Yeah, and I finally spoke up for myself. I couldn't just go out on the field and have a chip on my shoulder. Like, I had to open my mouth and tell somebody, how I felt about their opinion about me.
On and off the field. On the field you were pretty dominant, I'm sure, at least good. But then now off the field you found your way. Yeah. So that was like a whole ordeal. And then now to get back to where we were. That's perfect.
Now we're rehabbing. Now we've had the surgery and we're rehabbing. And me and my college
had your
roommate,
moment.
I had my moment. I left. My roommate, he didn't want to go back either, and we decided we were just gonna do it all together. We were gonna team up and push each other and come back stronger than ever. So that's what we did. He had a good connection with the coach at Daytona Beach Community College because he was recruited well out of there.
Okay.
Because he was from the area in high school, and talked to him. Coach allowed us to use the facilities to do our throwing programs and working out or whatever we needed. And in return, he was also going to allow us to walk on the team the following year.
Perfect, perfect.
So that's what we did. We went there. Neither one of us were on the baseball team. We were just students. Went to class like a normal student.
Because you have to wait a year, right? There's like a process where you have to wait? Or?
Well, we couldn't play.
Okay.
So there was no way we could walk on the team.
Because you're recovering. Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
that makes sense.
So we went there, students only. We would go talk to the coach every once in a while to say hello and thank him for everything or whatever. We would do our throwing programs. I mean, sometimes we'd throw at the field, sometimes we'd throw in the parking lot.
Just wanted to throw.
We needed to throw. Like we had a program, and it was this program or die.
And you were, and like you said, you were not gonna deviate from the program because you had to come back.
We were jumping fences at the local little league so we could get on a field to throw because the college team had practice on their field.
No,
so
for sure.
We were doing everything we could do.
So you're going pretty strong in the recovery, right? And it sounds like you're hitting every
for sure.
If any, was there points or moments where you were doubting the process or doubting the recovery? I know a lot of time with athletes, especially after an injury, like you feel a little tentative to let the horses out.
Yeah, I mean, when you're throwing, especially after that surgery, there was moments where like I didn't know if I just blew out again or what happened, you know, with scar tissue or whatever. But at the time, there was no time to have any doubt. It was just like, keep going, hope for the best, and if at the end of the road it didn't work out, then it didn't work out. But I can't worry about, you know, every little move. I had to believe in the process. And
that's why this guy's here. Mindset is everything.
It helps so much to have somebody with me.
Got you.
You know what I mean? Like he was going through the same thing, and the days that I wasn't really feeling it or I didn't want to do it, he would motivate me. Or the days that he wasn't really feeling it or he didn't want to do it, I would motivate him.
That's huge.
And honestly, we both came back stronger. It was crazy.
Firing.
Yeah, I mean before the surgery, when I was at UWF, I was only throwing like 86.
Only 86.
I hit 88 a couple times. I don't know if I ever even hit 89.
Okay.
And after the surgery, my first time on a radar gun was right there, and I was 92 to 94.
92 to 94.
No, sorry, I was 90 to 92.
90 to 92. Okay. I mean, still hot though.
Yeah, I was 90 to 92 that day, right there, and that was the first time in my life that I'd thrown over 88. So, I mean, the hard work paid off, I guess.
Without a doubt. So
it worked out.
Did you ever get to play a year there?
No. So my story continues to be crazy.
Just off the wall.
Yeah. So my roommate, he went back. I don't remember if he got a scholarship or not, but he went back to Daytona Beach. He played there for a year.
Okay.
Pitched well, and then continued on to UCF.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, me, going into that summer after that year where we were just students, there's a local guy named Jeff Deerdorf from Claremont, and when he was still playing ball, I was like 9, and at the time, I was still a hitter, and he was a hitter, so I would go to him for hitting lessons when I was a kid. So like growing up, he was my hitting coach. That didn't work out real well, Jeff, but
thanks, Jeff.
But nah, he's been a family friend ever since, really. And so I called him up and I said, hey, I'm gonna play in this collegiate wood bat league in Central Florida. Can you talk to the coaches around Central Florida that you have a good relationship with,
and
have them come watch, because I'm trying to earn a scholarship. I don't want to have to pay for school. I mean, I had bright futures, but if I could get free schooling again, obviously that's what I wanted to do.
Exactly, that makes sense.
So that's why we showed up here, and we came here, and it was me, my best friend Gary, his little sister Hannah, their father, and my father, and Jeff Deerdorf, who's a Yankee scout now.
Okay.
And Deerdorf is standing over by third base. My best friend's catching me. I don't think he even had catcher's gear on.
I'm not doing that today, that's for sure.
Yeah, I doubt it was that L screen, but there was an L screen that we put behind him, and that's where my dad and his little sister were standing, and his little sister was holding the radar gun. and I was throwing a bullpen, and
Heat.
Jeff said, Hannah, how hard was that? And she said, 91. And he said, no, really, how hard was that? And she's like, yeah, 91. And I'm thinking in my head, like, holy shit, 91.
I just threw 91.
Let's go. You know?
Where's my truck at?
Yeah. So it was crazy. I finished my bullpen and then walked over to the side, and Jeff asked me, like, hey, do you want to play pro ball? And I'm like,
Stop it, Jeff.
Is that a trick question?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'm gonna make some calls. I wanna get some guys up here to see you. So I'm like, all right. And he's like, we'll give you a call later on in the week. So he calls me up and he's like, how soon can you throw again? Mind you, that was like my second time off the mound after Tommy John.
Yeah.
Which is like super early still.
Yeah.
So I told him, at least give me 5 or 6 days. So I got it ready as much as I could. Came back to this field. He brought another guy up with him who was like a scouting cross-checker.
What's that? What's the scouting cross-checker?
So like instead of having like an area, he like the Central Florida or whatever, he like cross-checks multiple regions or multiple areas.
So if a guy thinks you're hot,
now
the cross-checker comes in and is like, yo, he might be the real deal.
Yeah.
And obviously that guy was right.
Yeah. So he came, same thing, threw a bullpen to my best friend, probably not wearing catcher's gear. They liked what they saw. They called me a couple days later and invited me to go to Tampa to pitch in like a scrimmage game down there. It's like a little showcase, like a pre-draft showcase kind of deal.
For sure.
And I was like, all right, yeah. When do I show up?
Yeah.
You know?
Let me know. So, my bag's already packed in the $40,000 truck.
I'm ready to go. So I get ready. We go down there. I pitch in that. It was like 1 inning. Pitched well. Came off the field. And when I came off the field, the first person I'm looking for is Jeff, because he's the only like familiar face I have.
Person that you know, yeah.
So I see him and he's just smiling from ear to ear, and I walk up to him and he said, you know how hard you were just throwing? And I said, no. He said, 92, 94. And I said, shut up.
That's crazy.
And he said, yeah.
So this is essentially the fourth time you're pitching
off the mound,
post-surgery,
and
you're throwing.
Yeah, and it's my first time throwing over 92 was this day, and it was 92, 94. Out here, I never got over 92. And then I got there, and the adrenaline got pumping, and I got to 94. So
yeah, that reminds me of, you ever see, what's the movie, The Rookie of the Year? The little boy, he gets the surgery, and he's like, boom! Like, this is his life right now. You are the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, so it was, that day was a crazy, just like emotional, like what just happened kind of day.
Yeah.
So yeah, long story short, the draft was like 13 days away or something like that, and they said, all right, we want you to come down one more time for another pre-draft workout in like a week. I did that. I didn't pitch well, but I threw hard again, which was good because they wanted to see, I guess they wanted to see like if I could do that again. Or
especially after surgery, because they would have known, yeah.
Right, so regardless, the draft was like 10 days later, and they drafted me in the 15th round.
So you go from like a possible...
I went from...
Possible D1 hopeful, get a scholarship, didn't work out there, had no idea where you were going to play, to they got to see you and knew that you were the real deal.
Well, kind of, yeah. I mean, yeah, I was hoping, obviously, to go to D1 just like any other student athlete in high school, and went D2. Obviously, didn't go well.
Yeah.
Left, did the rehab, and then I went from just trying to get a scholarship to another school to getting drafted all in like 3 weeks. So it was all like a tornado. Like when I got drafted, I was so unaware of like what exactly was going on that like I didn't even know I was drafted. I was just playing Call of Duty. I had the draft on the computer, but like I wasn't really paying that much attention to it, because in my head I'm just like, I'm not gonna get drafted.
Yeah.
You know, like
there's no way. There's no way.
I hope so.
I wasn't able. They didn't want me to play D2.
Yeah,
like
exactly. So
what?
I'm playing Call of Duty, and here comes my dad and Gary's dad, and they come in and they're like, "Did you hear it?" And we're like, "No, the internet or something must have got slow because."
Those are the dial-up days right there. Yeah. That's when you know dial-up is messed up.
So they came in. We were all excited. Jeff called me to congratulate me.
That's super dope.
It was crazy.
That's super dope. So, I mean, obviously, that's a huge process. I mean, a lot to take in. What were the first few things that you did, like, once it really set in?
It didn't have time to set in. Jeff called me. I never had an agent or nothing, right? So, basically, my scout was acting as my middleman. He wasn't my agent, but he was my middleman, and I was my own agent, I guess.
Yeah.
He calls me and says, "Hey, how much? They want to know how much it's going to cost for you to sign." And I'm like, "I don't know."
A pen.
Yeah, like a plane ticket. I don't know. And so he's like, "Think about it. Give me a couple days, and I'll call you back." I said, "All right." He called me back, and I said, $250. Like I just grabbed the number and threw it at him.
Yeah.
And he said, "All right, I'll tell him." And he called me back the next day, and he said, "They said they'll give you 100." And I said, "All right, send me the address. When do I show up?"
Yeah.
And he laughed, and he said, "I'll talk to him and let you know." And
that's crazy.
He called me back and told me where I needed to be and what time I needed to be there, and I was there like 2 days later signing my name on the paper.
So you show up again, and you sign up, and like that process had to be crazy, right?
Yeah, like I showed up. It was like super non-formal or crazy. It was just me and my dad, and we went down there and went into like this little office room, and they had some papers, and I signed them, and then they showed me where my locker was, and nobody like showed me where the fields were, or like this is where the schedule is.
So again, we had to grow up real fast.
Yeah, like here's your locker, here's your stuff, go get them.
Yeah.
And I was like, here we go, love you, Pop.
Keep throwing.
Yeah.
Wow. So I mean, again, like it's crazy to me just how so quickly you've always been like the new guy, but obviously impressive, right? So you were the sophomore who was good, but didn't get to play. You were someone who showed potential, got a chance on you, but then it didn't work out. Like, and then now on probably the biggest stage. I mean, there's so many athletes looking to get to that level. First day in the minors. What was it like?
I don't even know how to answer that question. I mean, there's 4 fields. There's people everywhere.
This is in Tampa?
Yeah.
Okay.
At the complex.
Yeah, for sure.
There's 4 fields. There's players and coaches everywhere. Half the players don't speak English or speak very little English because they're young Latin players that just came over. And
yeah, for sure.
They're taking their English classes and they're trying to learn English so that they can get better. And I'm over here like, what is going on, you know?
Because just a few weeks ago, like, you had no place to play.
Yeah.
And this is the place everyone wants to play.
Yeah, and now I'm there. And not only am I now playing professional baseball, but like I'm with the New York Yankees, you know? Yeah. And everybody knows what
kind of clout that brings.
Everybody that, you don't ever have to watch baseball, but you know who the New York Yankees are.
I think it's Jay-Z that does it. It's all those hats,
yeah,
bro.
I was just about to say, didn't he say you made him more famous than Jeter did?
Exactly.
I don't know if that's true.
Nah, I mean, close though. We'll say it's a tie.
But yeah, man, it was wild. That was the beginning of the ultimate grind. I mean, people don't, unless you do it, unless you play in the minor leagues or you coach in the minor leagues, you don't know. You can't even like try to figure out how it works.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
And you were there for how long? Was it 5?
5 years.
5 years. 5 years.
5 years.
5 years.
I mean, there's guys that have been doing it for 13.
Yeah.
So 13, 14. I mean, Mike Hessman did it for like 20. So.
I mean, but to me, what's crazy about that, and you are, and I think that's awesome. But what's crazy to me is that like through that entire process, like 5 years is a long time.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have people who start some. I mean, I work with some athletes. I work with people who are working out, and like they want to quit after 2-3 months.
Yeah.
You were doing something.
Well,
you didn't really. You had a dream, a vision of where you wanted to go, but
I never had a plan B.
5 years, exactly. 5 years. That's dope.
I didn't have an education. Obviously, I only went to college for 2 years.
Yeah.
I never, even when I was in college, I never knew what I wanted to do.
He definitely seems like a guy who majored in girls. Let's be real.
I learned it all from you.
Oh, chill. That might be true though.
But yeah, man, it was. I don't even know how to explain it really.
That's wild. That's I mean, 5 years. That's a long time. I mean, you have to grind at something for 5 years, especially like you said, you didn't have a plan B.
Yeah.
This is it.
I had no plan B. I was if it wasn't for my parents, I would have had to have a plan B. You know? I wouldn't have been able to financially.
Great. I mean, but you're doing what you love. It's almost like
chasing the dream.
Chasing it. And some of us get it. That's awesome. That's super dope. So 5 years come, and I mean, I'll say I personally, I had to watch the first game. So I know Shane. We actually met playing basketball. At LA Fitness in Clearwater. Right. That's how I met him and a couple of our buddies. So of course, like I was sitting there, I'm watching the first game. You get called up. I think it was because CeCe got hurt. Was it because CeCe got hurt, or like how'd that work?
Okay, so I got called up. Well, the first time I got called up that year, I got called up and I was there for 9 days, and I didn't pitch.
Yeah.
And then the next time that I got called up was that time, and
against the Red Sox, I believe.
Yeah, it was in Boston against the Red Sox.
Talk to us about that first batter.
So, let me tell you something.
Okay.
I've never been that nervous in my whole life.
Which makes sense.
But I never thought I got nervous. You know, like leading up until that point, I was like, I don't get nervous, I just get antsy.
Yeah.
You know, liar. So I'm there, I'm warming up, and the last like 4 or 5 pitches that I throw in the bullpen, the ball's just going. I don't think the catcher even caught it. And the bullpen coach walks over. He doesn't say anything to me yet. He walks over. He gets a water bottle out, takes the top off, and he stands in front of me so I can't throw another pitch. And he says, "Take a deep breath." Now take another deep breath. Drink this. And
did it help at all?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know because I still went in there and I don't remember anything.
Yeah.
It's all so blurry. Like. I specifically remember the feeling like running through the door for the first time and like my first 10 steps.
Heart pounding.
I mean, my heart couldn't have been pounding anymore. And I ran out there and then I got on the mound, and anybody who's played with me or grew up with me, they know that like sometimes I don't know where the ball's going when I'm not throwing it as hard as I can.
Okay.
Okay, so my first warm-up pitch, I'm like, just throw it to the catcher. Don't hit the net in the air, and we accomplished everything we wanted to accomplish.
Did you hit the net in the air?
Nah, I threw a strike. First warm-up pitch. So
We're in there.
I'm like, all right, I got this.
Good.
Warmed up, first hitter, walked him, and I'm like, shit.
Here we go.
Come on, Shane, you can't walk everybody, right? So next guy is. I think the first hitter was Jackie Bradley Jr. I'm not even 100% positive, and I should know that. Second batter was Pedroia, and he hit a ground ball to Jeter's right, and it kind of got away from him. Runner went to third, so now it's first and third.
Okay.
No outs. The next pitch is a slider. They called a strike, but it went through the catcher's legs, but it was a called strike.
Yeah.
So the run scores.
Okay.
So now I'm walking back to the mound, and everything happened so fast. I'm just like, what just happened?
Pissed.
I'm not even mad.
Really?
Can't be angry because I don't know what happened.
Oh, okay. So you really had no idea what happened.
What just happened? So I think at that point we had like a meeting at the mound or something maybe, and people were talking to me. I don't know. I was blacked out.
Yep.
Long story short again, I walked the next 2 guys, and they came I struck that guy out. Shane Victorino, first big league strikeout, and then the next 2 guys I walked.
Shout out to him.
Yeah.
Like, thanks, bud.
Appreciate it. No, but the next 2 guys I walked, and then they came and got me.
Gotcha.
And my debut was over.
That's it.
That was it.
How'd it feel? Like after you're in the locker room, how's it feel?
I mean, obviously I wanted to do better.
Yeah, for sure.
But
you got there, you tasted it.
Yeah, I mean, I accomplished my lifelong dream of pitching the big leagues. So it was.
So at that moment, you never pitch another inning, you're okay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you dream bigger every day, but
yeah, for sure.
Growing up,
that was it.
My lifelong dream was to pitch in the big leagues, and after that day, I was forever a big leaguer. So that was goal accomplished.
He honestly, he has been a big leaguer. He doesn't return my texts anymore, my phone calls. Like he's 40 man for real. No, I'm joking. So I mean, obviously, like the whole thing we wanted to talk together, we wanted to get is to like that adversity throughout the entire process, right? So what? Before, I mean, I definitely want to hear more because I mean, you've even seen even more adversity going to the Tigers now and like stuff like that. being traded and going from starting to like relieving and things like that.
Yeah.
But like, looking back now, like, what are some things that you would probably tell to a guy coming up, like a high school kid, a college kid, like, what didn't you know?
Advice?
Exactly. Like, what didn't you know that you now know now, right? Like, hindsight's 20/20, that you would bestow upon anyone with those type of aspirations?
My number one thing is to allow your journey to be your strength. That's what was my strength. I was never expected to do what I did or what I've done, except for from me and my closest friends and family.
The homies.
Yeah. But more than that, it's, you know, there's how many little leaguers are there in the country? How many high school baseball players are there in the country?
Even college.
They all have the same dream, to play in the major leagues, and there's guys that are more talented than others, and there's guys that work harder than others. And for me, through my journey, it was always like, at the end of the day, if I'm sitting home without a job and I didn't make it, or you know, they said I can't play anymore, I never want to be able to say what if.
Yeah. So there'll never be a moment where like it wasn't because of the work.
Yes.
Maybe someone didn't realize it.
If I'm not good enough, I can handle that. I can handle being told I'm not good enough.
Without doubt.
So, at the end of the day, as a kid in the minor leagues, especially, I mean, I can't even fathom what it's like for these Latin American kids, where they come over at 16 or 17 years old. They can't speak our language. They're living in hotels and they're going to the complex on a bus with all the other kids, and they're in this locker room and
don't really understand what's going on.
They're in a country that they didn't grow up in. They can't communicate with anybody. They're away from all their family, all their friends. I mean, it takes a lot of knowing who you are, finding who you are, being okay with who that person is, and trying to improve on it every single day.
And it sounds like, I mean, even through your own trials and tribulations, like, it sounds like that you were able to, like, you used it almost. Like, you used that chip on your shoulder. You used the setbacks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm I don't like to toot my own horn, but like,
let me toot it for you.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like, I'm not supposed to be where I am. The situations I was put in, you know, throughout my journey, I wasn't supposed to be here. I used to be the most paranoid. Like, I literally used to tell myself, like, if there is a God out there, and He knows that all I had to do was just run that extra pole, or run that extra lap, or run that extra mile, or do that extra thing. If He knows that I thought about it and that I didn't do it, why is He gonna give me a chance?
Gotcha.
So if I ever thought about it, I did it.
Wow. That's huge.
If the thought crossed my mind,
the nugget
I couldn't allow myself to not do it, because if He's real and He's watching me and He's listening to my thoughts, then He knows that I didn't give myself a chance, so why would He give me a chance?
See, that right there tells me, or shows me, why that 5 years in the minors, may not, obviously, there's no way it was easy for you, but you were able to take that, because it was like, yo, like, what if, like, after year one, I mean, how many dudes give it up themselves after year 1, 2, 3, like, oh, this isn't going to work out. But he's like, yo, what if I just go look, like,
yeah,
you were at that point where they had to tell you.
Yeah,
it wasn't going to be you that dropped out. They had to tell you.
No, you can't. You gotta believe in the everyday process. And the minor leagues too, man, everybody has the same goal, and everybody's grinding just as much as the other. And you're living in an apartment with, you know, there could be 5 guys in a 2-bedroom apartment. 3 guys are living in the living room on air mattresses or whatever it may be.
Trust me, I remembered that.
Yeah. So it's like, those guys are grinding just as much as you, and you get special relationships with those guys, and you push each other, and you pull for each other, and you support each other, and you try to get better together, you know. At the end of the day, like, if we're friends and we're teammates, one of us is going to get called up, but if you get called up, I'm going to be happy for you because we've been grinding together, you know what I mean?
That's so dope.
So that's how it was, and still to this day, I mean, I'm good friends with a lot of the guys that I played with in the minor leagues.
For sure. Damn, that's super awesome. So switch it up just a little bit to kind of like modern day now. So you're pitching, right? A lot of things are happening in the league. A lot of things are happening for yourself. Like, how do you feel? I mean, you have to go back into New York now and see these monsters.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about going back there and just, I mean, and pitching again? I mean, obviously you've pitched there before, but like, now with the lineup that they have right now, how are you feeling?
I mean, right now I feel good because I can't give up a hit today. You know, I'm pitching, so,
that's the mindset, hands down.
No, it's exciting, man. Like I said, I've accomplished my goal to get to the big leagues. Now I've set new goals.
For sure. What's the next step for you then? What?
I mean, my next like life goal is to be in the big leagues for 10 years.
Okay.
Obviously, there's goals along the way to achieve that, but that's my goal.
That's the one.
That's the one goal.
That's the.
You know, everybody wants to be an all-star. Everybody wants to do things like that.
You just want to make a life, a career here.
Yeah, I mean, this is the only thing I know how to do. So I want to do it for as long as I possibly can.
For sure. Any idea yet or aspirations past the 10 years? Or are we just working to get there and then we'll worry about it?
Like when I can't play anymore?
Yeah.
If I can't play anymore, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I always talk about how awesome it would be to be like, go to a smaller college or smaller school. It could be a community college maybe even, and coaching and like creating a dynasty and having like guys that I played with come coach with me and like still be able to have that locker room talk with the fellas and be able to help young athletes
because
at the same
you've
time.
Been there at every level.
And they're old enough to actually listen, and you know, if they buy in, it can help, you know. And it's nothing against kids or little leagues or whatever, but it's just like I want to help them as well. But at the college level, it's
and at that point, it's just completely different.
Yeah,
like you're locked in.
At the college level, they're able to just say, okay, yeah, I'm 100%.
And there's less other stuff. Right. There's not like 3-sport athletes, unless they're not. I got what you're saying. That's super dope.
Yeah,
that's real dope.
That to me would be the ultimate life for sure.
So 10 years, and we're gonna see it. So you heard it here.
You heard it.
He's about to be here 10 years in the league, right? And then he's gonna go on create that dynasty. It'll probably be a Netflix special.
It's all about the 30 for 30.
Easy, or like they have that new thing. What's that? The new football one, where homie like
Football Life.
Yeah, no, he. It's a community college where he like dominates. He takes guys who've had trouble at other schools.
Last Chance You.
Last Chance You.
Yeah, that's it.
Woo!
I love that show.
I see yours as like the first chance you. I'm down with that.
Yeah.
Yo, Netflix. Once you take that name, let me know. But hey Shane, I really do appreciate you coming through, man. Bro. That's super huge.
Absolutely.
Watch the Tigers. I think that's the easiest thing. Like, if you got anything from this, without doubt, you got to watch this guy. I mean, every single day. We talked about someone who spent 5 years not knowing where he's going to be and dominated, right? At every single level, there was adversity, but he knew what he wanted, and that came before everything else. That came before the doubters, the haters. That came before, like, actual physical adversity. This guy's had surgery more than once and is still continuing on with his, because he's got it here. He's got it here. That mindset you've heard throughout. I mean, his mind is in the right place, right? And I think the biggest nugget for me is, if you think about it and you're not doing it,
you're wasting your time.
You're wasting your time. Hey, I appreciate it again, like I said, Shane, and everyone out there, be well.
Be yourself.
Be yourself. Yo, you killed it, bro.
We're gonna go.
Exactly. What we're gonna talk about. We're on Friday trying to figure out what story we can create Sunday for pizza and movies.